We will hold you responsible if anything happens to Chief Clark. Your youths warned the military. Yes, now it's time. It's time for that. Okay, because this is following the complaint that Chief Edwin Clark, the elder statesman in the Joe land, raised an alarm that the military came to molest people in his house and they raided his house in search for the so-called, militants that killed the 17 soldiers in Okwama village. And in that process, they ransacked his house and molested the people in his house. And it was a very awful raid. At the end of the day, they left without finding anything. And Edwin Clark was like, at his level and at his age, everything, anybody coming to ransack his house is supposed to come with search warrant and has to go through the governor of the state. But none of that happened. And after molesting him, his people and his workers in his house, then they left. So with that, Chief Edwin Clark had actually cried out and said, this is what is happening. And so your youths have come out to warn the military. If anything happens to the old man, they will hold the military responsible for that. And that's fine enough, frankly speaking. That's fine enough. If you want to kill everybody in the Joe land, then go ahead. Because all the things happening in the north, you are not reacting to them. But the ones happening in the south, you prove that you are combatant. That is one-sided and it's not acceptable. The Joe Youth Council, IYC, has reacted to the military invasion of Pa Edwin Clark country home in Kiagbodo, Burutu local government area of Delta State last week. Now, the IYC, who described the military invasion as a great insult to the Ijaw people and highly condemnable, regretted that the action is not only embarrassing to the personality of Pa Clark, but the highest level of disrespect to the elder statesman. Spokesman of IYC Worldwide, Ambassador Binabai Praisewell, said at a press conference yesterday, the IYC has always tasked the military to work strictly with intelligence and not to go out of the rules of engagement. We are in a democratic era and not a pure military regime. The invasion and destruction of properties at Pa Clark's house in Kiagbodo, Burutu local government area of Delta State on Saturday is a great insult on the Ijaw people and is highly condemnable. We are yet to know the offense he has committed against the Nigerian government and military that will lead to this kind of attack on his house. This is not only embarrassing to the personality of Pa Clark, but the highest level of disrespect to the elderly. So Pa Clark has diligently served this country as a senator and as a first Republican Minister of Information. He is age 97 as of now and has been one of the strongest pillars of unity in Niger Delta and Nigeria at large. He is the leader of the Pan-Niger Delta Forum, PANDEF. So to even think that he will be harboring criminal elements in his house is the greatest slap on his face and that of the Niger Delta people. Now let us make this clear. Nobody is stopping the military from carrying out its duties to flush out criminal elements. What we are saying is that it should work with credible intelligence so that innocent people will not pay for a sin they did not commit. Now that nothing incriminating was found at Pa Clark's residence, how will the military now pay for the damage caused on the personality of the non-Nigerian? Finally, the Joe Youth Council will hold the Nigerian military responsible if anything happens to our father, Chief Dr. Edwin Kiagbodo Clark. Nigeria is not a banana republic where people do things the way they want. People must obey democratic principles and must operate within the ambits of the law. That is it, and that is very, very correct. That is absolutely correct. That is absolutely correct. You just wake up simply because something happened to Kwama, which is in Urobo land, not even in Ijaw land. You trace the people to Bayelsa. You molested the Bayelsa state governor, embarrassed him, and Okay, and then you stopped Delta State and Bayelsa State governors from entering Okwama. You blocked everywhere, and now you still went as far as Burutu to go and look for people that escaped. Meanwhile, the people that committed the crime, some one of them has come out with a plain video and say, "Look at my face, and we did it," and confessed and said everything, that will be his last video. You couldn't go after him. What is happening to military intelligence? What is happening to Nigeria Intelligence Agency? What is happening to DSS? What is happening to police? So why can't people find the right information before taking action? Why can't you act on credible information and intelligence? You just go about molesting people all over the place. Nobody is happy with the death of the 17 soldiers. But I tell you, has worse thing happened in the north? Yes. The things Boko Haram, ISWAP, Fulani, X-Men and bandits are doing in the north, it's worse, 1 million times worse than what is happening in the south. And what have you done about it? How many bandits have you arrested? Just imagine what happened just a few days after the rescue of the Kaduna school children that were abducted. The military has released more than 200 Boko Haram suspects in their custody and handed them over to Borno State government for rehabilitation and say they have been cleared of their contacts and connection with Boko Haram. Just imagine that. Meanwhile, a few days after the release of those Kaduna children, a notorious bandit, flaunted the cash they received for ransom. And government is telling us they did not pay for ransom. So what are we talking about here? So what is not acceptable in the south is acceptable in the north by the military and by the so-called Fulani government, because that is what it is. So I don't understand. I don't even understand what Tinubu is doing, because if people thought that he's a satana, he's a Toknadu, he's this and that, he's not going to take nonsense. He's taking nonsense in the north, but he's not taking nonsense in the south. So how can you balance that? You can't balance that. Now you just because of what is happening in Okwama, the innocent people of Okwama have been killed, the houses burnt, the community has been ravaged and destroyed. You even brought in bulldozer and swamp boogies to come and level the place and close the atrocities that you have committed. Meanwhile, the remaining people alive in Okwama are in the bush, in the creek, in the forest, and are suffering and they can't come out. And neighboring communities can't take them, because if they take them, you trace them to their communities. So you are already doing ethnic cleansing. The military is doing ethnic cleansing in Okwama, and the government does not see anything wrong about that. Just because during Obasanjo time it happened in Odi, does it mean that it should continue to happen? Does it mean that innocent people should bear the brunt of a sin they did not commit? That is not acceptable. And you transfer that aggression to another statesman that is 97 years old now. Can Tinubu open eyes and see that happen to Pa Adebanjo or Pa Ruben in all these leaders of Afenifere? Can the Hausas allow that happen to Northern Elders Forum in the north? Is whatever happening in the south worse than what Gumi has said, or what Erufai and his son have said in the north? Or even the Sultan of Sokoto himself? So why are you now insulting the people of the south simply because of what happened? Nobody's happy with what has happened, we agree. But you should act with decency. That is what we're saying. So that is what is happening in the south. The Ijaw Youth Council have come to tell the military that nothing must happen to the elder statesman. If not, they will hold the military responsible. They know now. Of course, when the battle starts, they know how it will start. So thank you for listening, and let's have a comment.